Hello class, this is Dimpna Ugwu-Oju, and today we are going to go into chapter 3, news writing basics. I think it's important to review this chapter before we review chapter 2 because it provides you the tools that you need to get ahead, whether it is in doing some of the short writing things that I'm going to ask you to do or just for your own benefits. So if you have gotten your book, here are some of the things that we're going to talk about. Okay, first of all, the 5 W's. Is this something that you already know? The 5 W's are some of the key concepts that you're going to have to learn in journalism. And then inverted pyramid and news lead and the kinds of leads that you're encouraged to write. And then what comes after the lead. We're also going to talk about story structure, about rewriting, about editing, the news writing style, and also making deadline, which is very, very important in journalism. So, news writing is a little different from other forms of writing because for us, it's really about being objective, trying to make sure that there are no biases. If you have any biases coming into news writing, then it's really necessary that you excuse yourself or exclude yourself from the assignment. Good reporters respect integrity of facts. Facts tell the story. Readers draw their own conclusions, okay? Yes, I do know all the things that have been going on lately, including about this whole concept of fake news or the debate about what is news and what isn't, and people making up their news, making up their own reality. The basic tenet of journalism is about facts. Reporting the facts, staying with the facts, and trying to be as objective as possible so that there are no confusions to your readers. That is absolutely important. Okay, secondly, then there's the concept of the 5 W's. The W's are who, what, when, where, why. And here are some examples. Again, these examples are in the PowerPoint that I've posted, but also in your book. So please take time. Example of who is the story about, or who performed the action in the story. Example of the what happened. Example of when did it happen? Can you give the specific date and time, depending on if it's breaking news or not? Where did it happen? Specific street or avenue, specific address, the city itself, the state, the country, if it happens to take place in another country. Why did it happen? The why is probably the last thing that we find out. Okay? For example, if you're writing a story about somebody who gets killed as they crossed a major road, we may know who died, a student of Fresno City College student. What happened? His car was hit as he crossed Blackstone Avenue. When did it happen? By Blackstone and Shields. When did it happen? On Tuesday at 3 p.m. Where? On Blackstone and Shields. Why? We don't know, because there could possibly be many, many whys. Is it possible that he wasn't paying attention? Is it possible he was texting? Is it possible he was drunk? Is it possible he got sick and lost control of the car. So the whys are always the last thing that the writer finds out, unless it's quite obvious. Okay. Again, all these are provided in your book and in the lecture. Again, let's look at the style of writing that if you've read newspapers or read some magazine articles, you are likely to see. It's what is called the inverted pyramid style. Okay. News writing format summarizes most important facts at the beginning of the story in an inverted order of importance. You start with the most important story. The further you go into the story, the less important the facts become. Okay, and it's absolutely important. And I know it's kind of counterintuitive to the way we tell stories, because we want to build a story up until it gets to the climax. Okay, in journalism, we want the most important thing first. What happened? Fresno City College student was killed in a car accident in the corner of Blackstone and Shields on Tuesday afternoon, right? You tell the most important facts. What happened? Where did it happen? Whom did it happen to? And where did it happen? We don't know the why, as I said, that's the last thing. Okay, so here's a good diagram. Okay, the lead summarizes the story's most important facts. Another paragraph adds more details. Third paragraph adds even more details. Fourth paragraph adds even more details and more details. Keep in mind that the more details you add, the less the importance of the details are. Readers should be able to, within the first two sentences, get the essence of the story in the first two sentences. Okay, that's in case they don't want to read any further. Okay, you just want to make sure that the most important information is right at the top of the story. Okay, and there's a history to that, and some of that history is covered in the first paragraph. Okay, so here is some explanation of the inverted pyramid. Okay, why writing a good lead actually matters to readers. Okay, here are two things that you need to remember when you're writing your stories. First thing is, the lead is the first sentence, the first few sentences. The lead must tell them what the story is about. The lead must also be enticing. It should drag or draw the reader into the story. And the lead that I just told you about, where you're concentrating on the most key and most important facts of the story, is called a summary lead. It's the kind of lead that just concentrates on the summary of the story. What happened? Like, who died? What happened? There was a flood, maybe? What happened? There was a plane crash? What happened? The new president is sworn in. Concentrate on the facts, and the rest can come later. Okay? Here are ways to prioritize the 5 W's. Lead contains the most important fact. Which of the key facts deserves to start the first sentence? Okay, rethink, revise, rewrite. Is it clear? Is it active? Meaning, is it in an active voice as opposed to a passive voice? Is it wordy? We don't like wordiness. If it is too wordy, you need to go back and clean it up. Is it compelling? In other words, does it drag your readers into your story? Going back to wordiness, why don't you try and aim for a lead that is no longer than between 26 and 30 words? Okay, that's generally what's recommended. And the more you polish it, the more you're going to realize that certainly you can get it a little shorter and it gets better and better after that. Not every story begins with a roundup of essential facts. Okay? Sometimes the story isn't breaking news, or you think it's not an urgent story and I could tell the story more leisurely, in which case we have to figure out a more enticing way to tell the story. Okay? So we're going to talk about that much later. But when you're doing your story, here are some checklists or questions that you need to ask yourself. Is it accurate? That's the whole story. Okay? Does it remember what day this event took place? Does it name the names? Does it use strong verbs? Okay? And also, does it sell the story? Okay? And the reader is asking, why should I care? Have you provided why the reader should care about the story? Okay? And then move attributions to the end of the sentences. I'm going to post a few more information that talks about attributions so that if you're in your time, you can go and review it, and some of the other details. Okay? Leads that succeed. Here are some other types of leads. Okay? But the one that we did today is the summary lead. Just think of those 5 W's. Think about prioritizing which of the W's I'm going to use first. Think of going with the what in the very first sentence, the what, the when, and the where. You don't need to state the who, meaning you don't need to state the name of the individual unless the person is well known. Certainly not in the first sentence. For example, Mary Smith, a Fresno City College student, gets involved in a car accident and is killed. You don't need to lead the story with Mary Smith was killed as she blah, 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 blah. Nobody knows who Mary Smith is. However, if you start the story with a Fresno City College student was killed, that certainly answers the who question without any without being specific, because it's not really that important. Much later, maybe in the second or third paragraph, you can certainly bring in the student's name, where you identify the student, how old, etc., and provide some other details about the student. I don't want to get into the alternative kinds of leads, okay? But I want to go into, so what happens after the lead, right? You add another paragraph, okay? And so on and so forth. You just keep providing, again, as much details as you need to tell a complete story, okay? A new story really succeeds based on the narration. How well do you tell the story? Okay, think of it as telling a story to one of your friends. Have you told a complete story? Does it have a beginning, a middle, and an end? Have you given the reader the what, the where, the when, the why, and the who? And if you know why, have you given the reader all the necessary elements for him or for her to understand the story that you're telling? So, again, think inverted pyramid. Most important facts, additional facts, more facts, etc., etc. That's what you keep doing. Okay? So, please take time to review the rest of the lecture, the chapter 3 lecture. And if there's anything you don't understand, or if you need more help understanding it, please feel free to contact me, and I can schedule an audio conference or figure out a way to communicate to you. Okay? So see you later. Bye.